All right, teammates. We are back once again. If this is your first time listening to the Move Swiftly podcast, welcome to the number one show on innovative teamwork. Great to have you. Looking forward to having you back for more. To my regular listeners, there are times, we've been doing the show for about 5 years now. Oh, by the time you guys hear this, it would have officially been 5 years since we started around the COVID times. And there are times in which they are truly, truly rewarding people to interview. You're talking about a guy, you guys know my business and how I started this business as a walk-on college football player, all the lessons that I learned as a football player coming from a big time high school and then going walking on to a Division I school after tearing my ACL at a D2 school. You guys have heard the story, all that. And today we have somebody that I had the pleasure of being introduced to by a previous guest. Shout out to Catherine McCord, who is doing some things in the college football world, a world that I love, that ESPN's not going to capture. All right. It's not going to get covered by the mainstream media. You have to genuinely know what it feels like to be in those locker rooms, to be a walk on player, to be someone that is really going out to school every day, grinding and putting in your work. To really care about the well-being of an athlete's mental health and what it actually takes to go through something when your chances of making it in the NFL are slim to none, but you're still going out there showing up every single day doing some things. He has an app. It's called Ascend Meditation that he's started while he's currently playing for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. So all that being said, Walker Ferguson, welcome to the show, man.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being on it. And, we'll just get it out the way now. Thank you for the work you do. I think I speak for not only myself, but the millions of college athletes that play the game. And we're talking about every sport that put in a lot of work, a lot of time. And, you don't really see the sort of the forest between the trees or whatever the quote is. You don't really see the labor, the fruits of your labor while you're there. But thank you for actually putting in something that shows people that they actually care and their mental health actually means something. So definitely appreciate that. And on behalf of all the athletes, the people that have been through it. So
Yeah, no, appreciate you. It's an honor to be on your show. Seriously.
yeah. So let's get into this, man, because like I mentioned in the intro, you were a lacrosse player coming up. You came up grew up in the DMV and you came up in the Richmond area, which I'm still claiming I still claim all DMV. Anybody in the V, I claim I'm putting the stamp on people. But you
No.
were a lacrosse player and lacrosse is pretty big out there. And something happened to you during those years. You speak very highly of your mother and your father and your walk of faith, your walk with Christ and all that. You speak very highly in terms of the principles and the values that you've had. Can you kind of take us back a little bit to your high school years when it was time for you to make that decision from, okay, we're leaving high school, 18 years old is coming, and I have to adult. Walk us through a little bit about, what that transition was like, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Like I said, grew up in Richmond, Virginia, like you mentioned, two beautiful sisters, lived in the same house my whole life. There's always football, lacrosse, anything with the ball, I always played it,
Right.
sure the same way.
And on that point, just not to cut you off, but I
Like,
spent a lot of time as a scout. And one
yeah,
of the things that a lot of parents would do, make the mistake of doing, is making their son just a football guy, which is
I
the
play all.
really bad. I mean, listen, that is a bad idea. They need to be trying every sport, lacrosse, basketball, track, baseball, whatever they can be doing. Don't reclassify them and then try to specialize them in football and all that. It's an incredibly harmful thing that you're doing to your kids. Just want to make sure we're on record stating that as well. So
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, anything with the ball, please play it.
play
But
it.
yeah, no, played like everything with a ball growing up. Got to high school, and I played club lacrosse all the way through,
Mhm.
and then I played football from third grade on as well. But lacrosse was always kind of my first love. I thought I was going to play lacrosse in college. I had a couple of offers to play, and COVID hit, and that was a pretty big shock. So instead of having 12 spots a class, it went down to four, and
That's
I got snubbed, right? And
yeah.
so now I'm like, oh
The
crap,
same
all right,
way Tyler Warren got snubbed in the Heisman. Just putting it out
yeah.
there. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, the schools that I was like I didn't really want to go to the Virginia Military Institute or some of the other schools.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, VMI, right.
yeah, so that was actually one of my first visits. But I didn't really want to go to any of those schools per se. I just didn't really feel like they were the right school for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then obviously COVID hits. You can't go to any football camps. We're not playing football. I didn't even get to play my senior season of football, which sucked.
Oh
My
man.
spring season. So I was just going through it at the time. But lucky enough, that's kind of when I translated my mindset into becoming just realizing like I can don't control everything, but I can control what I can control, and to keep taking a step forward every day, which most athletes really have to do and like develop their mind, develop that emotional intelligence, that emotional resilience. So me and my buddies would literally just go in and just lift like constantly. We would like do one-on-ones, like take videos of us running one-on-ones. We'd be sending it to coaches on Twitter
Oh,
nonstop.
snap.
You
So
know,
you did that like during the fall of your senior year?
yeah, we were doing that all like junior year, senior year. Yeah, that's all we did. Like it was
Oh, snap. Oh,
nuts. We couldn't play football, so we were like putting masks on. It was nuts, but
oh,
we were like just getting after it, right? And luckily, my junior year film was decent, and Wake Forest actually ended up giving me a preferred walk on, like yourself,
yeah.
which is one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. So I get to Wake in the summer of 21, and things are still weird with COVID and everything, but I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Hmm.
And you could jump in. It's like it was nuts. Like we're getting there right away. I was like, what did I just do?
Yes.
And I instantly my mindset shifted. Waking up at 5:30 every day to get on the roller and then go lift and hit practice. Like you develop the two key words that I've lived my life by is discipline and consistency, and that
Mhm.
kind of just carried me through football. But no, to answer your question, like I'd say that growing up, everything was pretty like smooth sailing until like that COVID hit, and that's
Right.
when the first time I really faced that adversity, and that's when I had to come overcome some challenges. But with the right mindset, I truly believe anybody can come over a challenge when you put your mind to something.
Yeah, so like you, I actually grew up with an older sister as well. My father has run his own business. My mother works in transportation, and you know, you guys again, especially for the parents at home, the people that are really raising young people, you have no idea how important that example is to be set because what you're referring to, I've lived through it on two occasions. One was at a Division II program in Tennessee named Carson Newman. The other one was Stony Brook, which is an FCS program now. Neither one of these programs were Wake Forest ACC football. All right. So when you describe that first camp, when it's like everyone's there, you hit that pads, the sun is out, the coaches are no longer nice to you. It breaks down. It's like, okay, I'm playing college football. All right. You're going to have some solid values if you're going to just make it through the day because you get through one practice. It's nothing like you ever had in high school. I'm telling you right now. The one practice is not going to be like what you had in high school. Okay, you got another two of them. You got another two of them that day, and then you got meetings that you got to be getting your ass chewed out for because of everything you did wrong. That's one day in college football, folks. All right, I'm just putting it out there. It's not for everybody. So, walk us through those years because obviously now one of the things that I was really actually frustrated about with the system is I went into Stony Brook wanting to be a business major, a lot like you, but because
Yeah.
of time and practice and all that, I had to switch it up and do all sorts of things. When it came to you being able to figure out how to balance these things, because you love the game, you want to play the game, you're there because you want to be there, not because you're on scholarship, but then you're also an econ major developing an app. How are you able to balance that entire lifestyle to be able to even make it through the day?
No, that's another good question. It was pretty tough early on. Coming as a freshman, you really, you don't know what you're doing. You're literally just kind of
No,
going with
I don't know. None of you guys. I'll tell you. I mean, I have not met one is told.
right.
I've met a lot of that freshman year. It's just like shit. It's a lot of stuff.
Really is. It's just there's so much going on, but luckily there was a lot of support with tutors, and I had a really good group of friends. We kind of pushed each other and got there. But
Hmm.
it was a lot of error early on. I was making a lot of mistakes. Didn't know the playbook. Grades weren't great.
Hmm.
Social life was. I mean, that was due to going a little bit better, but you
Hmm.
know. Things weren't clicking early on, and then things didn't really click sophomore year either. I was still playing scout team. I wasn't traveling, and that's kind of when I was in a pretty dark spot in my life then.
Right.
Um, and that's kind of like when meditation and mindfulness brought me out of that. And just taking a step back. And I've always relied on my faith through my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, like meditating on Scripture and just getting to know Him. And then
Hmm.
my business partner Hampton, he got really big into reading like Marcus Aurelius and learning different styles of meditation and just truly like finding like what mindfulness is and just living in the present moment. Um, so that kind of brought us out of some really hard times.
Hmm.
Um, like having that support system. So going from there, that's kind of how Ascend kind of developed is because we
Yes.
used, apps like Calm, like Headspace, because we had subscriptions through football.
Yeah.
They brought us out of some tough times as well, but nothing felt like individual for the user. So me and my buddy Hampton were like, well, why don't we use AI the right way and
Yeah.
create an app that gives tailorized, personalized meditation, sleep stories, and meditation plans, which basically allow you to visualize your success for whatever you're going through. And then to answer your question too, with academics and sports, there's a lot going on, and I know you know this as well. But
Hmm.
as a guy that's a walk-on guy, academics always come first. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
that's the way it is for everybody. So like I always prioritize my academics, and yeah, it was super challenging at times. But like I said, those two key words to start: discipline and consistency.
Hmm.
Doing just doing what you say you're gonna do, doing it when you're gonna do it, and then like consistency, like waking up every single day and being the same person. Like look at the man in the mirror and keep going. And that, like, having that strict schedule, that strict regimen allowed me to be able to, do these things and start this business, keep my grades up and while
Mhm.
I'm playing football. And, that support system's huge. So,
Yes.
yeah,
So there are 2 points that I have to make. It's first of all, when it comes to, and please don't misquote me, guys, because I'm not telling any student athlete not to get their degree. It is incredibly important, especially if somebody's paying for it. If you don't walk out with a piece of paper, that is an absolute tragedy, and that's on you. However, at the same time, the connections that you make on the team, whether it's an opponent, whether it's a newcomer, whether it's a freshman, whether it's a coach, doesn't matter, even on campus, people that watch you play, those connections that you make on the team are going to serve you in ways that your degree just can't. And I bring that up because many of you guys know and this is probably the first time you might know this about me, is I am an absolute diehard Michigan fan. Like you cut my wrist open, I'm amazing blue through and through, man. I'm going to the Relecquist Bowl when they play. I'm out here in Florida, so I'll be in Tampa in about
good
5
win.
to watch them tap some Alabama ass and doing all the activities. I am a diehard fan, whether we're 8-5 or 15-0 like we were last year. And I'm bringing this up because last year we had a quarterback named JJ McCarthy, and if you would watch him before the games, he'd sit right on the goalpost and he'd just be quiet in his own piece, in his own sense. And when you're talking about your app, and this is something that I could speak on from firsthand experience, you mentioned using AI the right way. You mentioned using the things that are made around you the right way. And I actually just used it my way. I'll let you talk about it a little bit, but there are certain prompts and there's certain things that me, even as a player, I would imagine myself doing before a game. I know I never actually played running back. It's like, man, what if I picked up a fumble and I finally scored and I showed the coaches that I'm fast enough to play fullback? All sorts of things that go on your head as a player. And you've been able to kind of tap into that mentality a little bit, which I think is absolutely incredible. So I'll let you kind of talk about it a little bit in terms of how the development of the app really came about with your partners and how you're able, what is some of the feedback been with some of the players that you are on it already?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So taking a big step back to when Hampton came to me with the idea in January of 2023, we just literally wrote it all out on a vision board. We were like, exactly how are we going to do this? How do we want this to lay out? And obviously, it changed a lot. We got pretty lucky. We met two amazing developers. One's the head of the computer science club at Georgetown named Colin Graydon, unbelievable dude. He brought on his buddy, and they built the MVP this summer. So while they were doing all the coding and all the science stuff, because I'm not a comp sci guy, Hampton's not a comp sci guy, I can't code to save my life. While they
Mm-hmm.
were building the app, we were kind of managing and just making sure they were going along the right way. While Hamp and I obtained a provisional patent, trademark our logos,
Wow.
and just make sure everything was running operationally, right? Just set up a marketing campaign,
Mm-hmm.
started to formulate what our brand strategy was going to look like, and kind of move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward a little bit till September, we're doing our beta testing. We're sending it out to classrooms at Wake Forest, kids on the Wake Forest football team. He's playing at Georgetown now, the Georgetown football team,
Mm-hmm.
and just getting their honest feedback. And the beta testing went well. Obviously, there was some bugs really early on that we needed to fix and tweak, but the content there was good. Like they were like, I'm actually able to visualize my success from the content. So once we
Mm-hmm.
made those tweaks, changing the user flow, we brought on another girl named Vaishnavi, who's a wizard with UI UX design in Figma. She did redesign the app to make it more of like a professional app with the layout. So
Mm-hmm.
after that was done, we actually got on the App Store a month ago, and all the athletes we've been doing so far, like one of my best friends ever is Jamal Banks. He plays wide receiver now in Nebraska, and he just declared for the NFL draft. Great, great player, great human being. And Maul was texting me. He's like, "Dude, this is helping me every single time
Oh,
before my,"
nice.
because
Right.
he literally can put in whatever input he wants. So he can put in the app, like for his meditation, I'm about to play against. I think they played Indiana because we had some boys that played in Indiana. He's like, well, I'm about to play against Indiana. I want to perform well. Please calm my nerves to help me play at my best. And it will create a meditation, not only to de-stress him before he's about
Right.
to play, calm his mind, but the other thing that he likes too is, and what other athletes have told me as well, is what we call the meditation plans. So you can put in a specific goal within the app. I don't know if you've tried this feature yet, but you can say, I want to become a starter on my football team, or I want to score 3 touchdowns against Indiana this weekend. I'm going to do this, and this to achieve it. And it will actually break up a plan, like a meditation plan, for you to visualize your success to achieve your goal. Because as you know, everything starts in the mind as athletes and as
Exactly.
high achievers, right? Gaining a mindful edge. So that's a lot of the feedback we've gotten. They like the fact that it's personalized and they basically can tailor it to whatever they're going through, whether that's sports, academics, work, life balance, relationships, mental health, whatever it is. But that personalization aspect is a key differentiator.
Yeah, well, you actually just beat me to it because again, as athletes, there's a lot of visualization we can do. I know this from experience. I could have visualized myself making a lot of catches and do a lot of things offensively. However, my athletic ability was wasn't going to achieve the things I wanted to do because I was realistic with what I can do on the field, which leads me to me wanting to kind of bring it full circle and talk about some of the academic sides, the rigors that maybe like when I played at Stony Brook, we had a quarterback who transferred from Syracuse because Stony Brook specifically had a hospital in the at the on campus, and he wanted to be in med school. So he would
Yeah.
bust his ass every day, doing his med school work, and then going and being the starting quarterback. And when you think about how much pressure and stress a person like that may have, can you speak about how it can help on the academic or any feedback, anything you can maybe talk about in terms of how it might help on the academic side when there's a huge midterm coming up? Okay, there's a big game also coming up, and then oh my God, my girlfriend just broke up with me, or there's some
Yeah.
okay, there's all sorts of things that may be coming up, and you speak about how breaking it down into exactly what's going to be able to be something that we can establish right now, so you can move
Yeah.
forward.
Oh, for sure. That's a good question. Start on the academic side. I personally use it for my exams. I got great scores.
Yeah, there we go. Right.
A couple of my buddies and also other people that are using the app, we send out a Google form and got their feedback. But the feedback essentially was that the app helped them de-stress and basically perform better on the exams because they didn't have this test anxiety. They were able to calm their mind before. To further answer your question, we're actually working with the Wake Forest Law School right now, and we're trying to do a case study with them. They're going to help us promote the app in the law school, and we're going to give their students a free membership, whoever wants to opt into the case study. And essentially, they're going to use the app for two things. One, it's going to like they're going to talk about their stress levels,
Mhm.
how the app helped them de-stress before a test. And
Right.
two, if they get a higher exam on the bar through a meditation plan, then the app clearly is helping them
Mhm.
perform better on the test, right? So I'm
Right.
super excited about that. This is something we're starting in the spring. But to answer your question, well, on the academic side of things, when we start doing these case studies, we're also going to do one. We did one with an HES class at Wake Forest.
Mhm.
And once these case studies kind of continue and start to finish, we'll have a much clearer picture of true data that I could give you to
Yes.
like truly back up the claims.
Utilizing your resource, folks. Again, we're going to hear this theme currently over and over and over again. This is the college experience. This is exactly what it should be. You should not be spending your time just with the football circle. You just can't, or whatever sport you play. You can't be just spending your time in that circle and hoping that it's going to be a success for you, hoping that the experience is going to turn into something successful. Go out, meet new people. I remember actually having my freshman orientation, and the academic advisor explained to us, get out of that circle, go meet some people on campus. I mean, you've mentioned the law students, you've mentioned some of the econ students, you've even mentioned people off campus. All of this stuff is going to lead to some sort of result, and you can't expect to get there if you're not pushing in that or moving in that direction. And the next question I have, I'll get you out of here soon, but when it comes to what you see in the future, because I'm not, are you still, are you graduating this year or next year or
So I'm just set to graduate Wake in the spring.
in the
So
spring? Yes. So what's like the next phase for you? What is your big plan after you graduate? Are you gonna, pursue grad school and all that kind of stuff? Just kind of speak a little bit about what's next.
yeah, no, 100%. First off, too, I really like the point you said. Life's all about relationships. And I
Sure.
would encourage all your listeners, anybody out there, never be afraid to make a connection, never be afraid to make a conversation because you never know where it's going to go.
Right.
And not asking the question, you're automatically getting to know and you're not going to get anywhere. So literally talk to whoever you want. People are good and people want to help you.
Hmm.
Um, but to answer your question, I did get into UVA for grad school to a commerce program
Oh, good.
for master's in marketing and management. I'm still considering if I want to do that, as well as I did an internship this past summer in New York at a company called Alpha Sites, which is a knowledge on demand firm
Mhm.
at Hunter Park, and I got a return offer there. And I'm contemplating going back there as well. But the thing that me and Hampton were working on is there's a startup accelerator in Winston called Winston Starts. Stan Parker and Mike Bukovich are unbelievable men, and they've been helping us scale and helping us grow the app, helping us with trademarks, patents, putting like you said, lifestyle about relationships, putting us in the right contact with people.
Hmm.
And we got accepted to their startup accelerator. So after college, if it aligns with what Hampton and I want to do, we're planning on moving in there and really trying to get this app off the ground and helping out as many people as we possibly can through the process. So those are kind of my three options. But at the end of the day, I have my foundations in the Lord and whatever. I'd never be afraid to trust an unknown future to a known God. And I don't know what my future holds, but I know the author. So I have peace in that. Keep moving.
And then before I let you go, we have to speak on that last moment because the first college I went to, Coach Sparks, Ken Sparks. I'm not sure if you heard about him, but he ran a program. He's no the late Coach Sparks. He ran a program, and the first thing he gave us, Walker, he gave us Bibles. He gave
Yeah.
us Bibles. He was a man of faith, and he every single day he would make sure that the word of God aligned with everything that we were going through on the field to the point where I could pull up teammates. I've had teammates on this very show that remember the scripture that we would have to recite before every game and all that. So I want to make sure I give you an opportunity to address how, you know, that walk of faith, having that relationship with God has helped you throughout your football journey as well, because we don't see enough of it. Obviously, we had Tebow, but that's kind of the big macro. I don't hear enough of it on ESPN. Obviously, it won't make mainstream media, but speak a little bit about, your relationship with God and how it has helped you throughout your entire athletic playing career.
Yeah, no, my relationship with God's everything. Without him, I'm nothing. I'm the creation. He's the creator. But I like to think about this analogy all the time with your foundation, right? Like a long bridge, right? Like at a Navy base, and these beams are so far down in the cement. And earthquake can come, tsunami can come, they'll smack these beams, but they don't move because they're so far down in the ocean. That foundation set. Houses around may get blown away, get
Hmm.
washed, but that foundation set. That's my
Wow.
foundation, Lord. So no matter what's going on in my life, I'm not playing. If I'm on scout, things in business aren't going great, girlfriend breaks up with you, whatever's going on, I have peace in knowing I have Him, and that peace is far beyond anything that this world could ever give you. So when I go through my life, I know why I was created. I know my why. I know my purpose, and I know it to serve the Lord. And I know He's always with me, no matter what, through the good times and bad. And that being able to have that mentality and that faith
Yes.
in something that's bigger than yourself, that carries you far beyond sports, academics, school, like anything.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, things might not be going right, but you know where you're going after. You have that faith. And, I
Yes.
would encourage every athlete to develop that relationship with the Lord, because things aren't always going to be smooth sailing. You're
Yeah.
going to
Not,
have you butt heads with. You're going to make some bad plays. You're going to feel it a low, because that's what sports does. It humbles you. But being able to have him in your back pocket and know that he's always with you, that's a blessing. That's peace in that. That's true. That's true peace. Living coram deo in the presence of God.
yes. I mean, the verse I go back to every single day is Colossians 3:23, man. Do all your work unto God, not unto man. And
Yeah.
when you are in the trenches, when you are living it, when it's hot, there's equipment, 30 pounds of equipment on, you're getting screamed at, you're getting your behind whoop blown out. You're gonna have to lean on something bigger than yourself, and you're just not gonna get any better than God, because God is consistent. He's gonna be there in the bad days, he's gonna be there in the good days, he's gonna be there in the days that just are the days.
Amen.
The most
Like
consistent thing that you can possibly have is that relationship, that foundation on God.
I like my favorite verse is Mark 8:36.
Mhm.
For what is it profit of man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul?
So
You literally could have the entire world and gain everything, but without God, you're nothing. Because at the end of the day, we all go 6 feet under.
exactly. Now, don't lose yourself. So, all that being said, can you just tell people how they can get in touch with you if they want to reach out and hear
Yeah.
all that good
No,
stuff?
100%. If you want to email me, my email is walkerferguson@ascendmeditations.app. And our Instagram's ascendapp.ai. And obviously, you can search us up on the App Store on iOS for about 2 months for Google Play Store. Just search up Ascend Meditations, and you can download us. I'm always open to chat and hear somebody's story.
All right, and that'll all be included in the show notes as well. So, Walker, the final thing I do to close out all the shows is want you to use your imagination a little bit. You are back to being I guess, a high school junior, a lacrosse player. You're thinking about playing college lacrosse. You got some offers, and then bang, COVID hits. Everything goes to SHIT. Working on my swearing, by the way, since I've been, get back in the world of going to church and everything. But anyway, pretend that version, that 17-year-old version of you has come back, come to the Zoom room, give him some words of encouragement, and we will officially close.
Yeah, I would just tell them that you're not alone. It's all going to be okay. And just to put one foot in front of the other and keep moving, and just never be afraid to trust an unknown future to a known God.
Mhm. And the mic is officially dropping with that one, folks. And if is this your first time listening in, the reason I do close out with that question, because if I'm describing you, if you are actually the person going through that, I wanted to make sure we're talking directly to you on that. Everyone out there, fellow teammates, continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.